Welcome to Cadence Design Systems, Fidelity Tutorial Tuesday, where we show you how to use a feature or demonstrate a technique in just a few minutes. That's right, it's another installment of our new features series. We have a new version of Fidelity Pointwise, version 2024.2, released on Monday, December 16th, 2024, and available right now on the Cadence Downloads page. This video will provide an overview of all the new features in Fidelity Pointwise 2024.2. And over the coming weeks, we will be doing a deeper dive into each of the more interactive new features. So let's get started. First, I want to note that the minimum supported versions for both the Linux and Mac operating systems have been increased. The minimum supported versions for the Linux distributions are Red Hat 8, SUSE 15.3, and Ubuntu 20.04. And the minimum supported version for macOS is macOS 12 Monterey. Also of note, we still only support Apple Silicon ARM hardware through Rosetta. If you're using an older version of any of these operating systems, you will need to upgrade your OS in order to take advantage of these new features. The feature set includes the following. There are significant updates to the model assembly UI. We have a completely new feature called cycle selection views. There's updates to both the bisect and star modes of trim geometrically. Select Similar has been extended. The point probe has also been extended. And finally, we have some performance improvements for the voxel algorithm. All of the updates to model assembly are intended to assist you in diagnosing issues that prevent your models from closing. First, the table at the top of this panel looks a little bit different. We are now differentiating between symmetry and lamina edges, and are also now reporting the total number of closed loops instead of the number of boundaries. As you can see in this example, Fidelity Pointwise detected one symmetry loop, which was expected since this is a half symmetry model, and 3 lamina loops. Secondly, you will notice a new frame, the View Model Loops frame. This frame contains tools that allow you to cycle the view in the display window to zoom in on each loop identified. This one is a game changer. You will now be able to easily find all of those tiny little holes that were very, very difficult to locate before. Lastly, we have updated the color palette for rendering the models to use the same muted color scheme as AQA. This just makes it a little easier to see the highlighted lamina and symmetry edges. The Cycle Views feature that we just discussed for model assembly was also added to several other commands. In all cases, it provides an ability to cycle the view through a list of objects. You can find it in the selection toolbox. Either click the new Cycle Selection Tools button or pop open the toolbox to access the controls. This will loop through all entities in your current selection. It can be found in ASM on the Global tab to loop through the displayed metric violations. Finally, you can also access this tool in the Advanced tab of Examine to view cells that are outside of the specified color bar range. Next, we have updates to trim geometrically. Bisect mode now has a new option, split position, that's used to determine the location of the bisection line. The default option center places the bisection at the 0.5 coordinate in parametric space, just as it did before. However, the new option, curvature, queries the boundaries of the quilt and places the split at the location of maximal curvature. This is ideal for automatically splitting quilts that span the leading edge. We also have updates to star mode. There are 2 new frames. First, the center position frame, which allows you to choose how the center point is automatically positioned. Average places it at the geometric center of the selected points, just as it did before. The second option, though, orthogonal, optimizes the center position to be orthogonal to the boundary, which is useful if you need your splits to align with the feature edges on adjacent quilts. These options only affect the automatic placement of the center point. You can still move the center point manually to a location of your choosing. The second new frame is the automatic frame, and it provides a completely separate workflow within star mode to automatically define star splits based solely on their bounding vertices. Moving on. Previously only available for quilts, Select Similar and Select by Histogram have been extended to domain selection. The workflow and properties are the same before. The point probe. This is one of those features that is extremely useful, and it's one of our longest standing features in Fidelity Pointwise, but it's often overlooked or just unknown of because it's only available via keyboard shortcut. It has always been used to query point locations and measure distance in the display window in an interactive way. For 2024.2, we have extended its capability to also measure angles. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the workflow, using the appropriate shortcut, click on the first point to see its coordinates. Click on a second point to see the new point's coordinates and also start measuring distances. Now you can click on a third point to also start measuring angles. In the image shown here, the points are clicked in the order A, B, and C. You can see both the distance from B to C and the angle centered at point B in the display window and in the messages window. If you are ever unsure what the keyboard shortcut is for your operating system, simply go to Help Keyboard Shortcuts or hold down the question mark key to bring up the shortcut overlay. Finally, the performance of the voxel algorithm has been improved and is now up to 2 times faster for complex source configurations. There is also an added improvement in the regularity of the voxel transition layers, as can be seen in these images. Note that this may change your cell and point counts in your meshes if you're comparing to older versions, but the more consistent regularity in transition zones is usually preferable for solvers. If you liked this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button or subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, drop us a line below or connect with us via LinkedIn, which is linked in the description. Thank you all and have a pleasant Tuesday.